Hello and welcome to Beach View, our podcast about different things and/or stuff.
Hello, welcome. So today we're going to get into some current viewings.
Yes, which I know we did one recently, but something's come up, which is to say, Deltarune Chapter 3 and 4 released this week, by the time we're recording it. And you might remember Deltarune from a current viewings we did when Chapter 2 released, which was almost 4 years ago now.
Oh my goodness, that long?
Yeah. I didn't go back and listen to that episode where I talked about it, but damn.
I remember you talking about it. I remember the name of it, but I did not remember it was that long ago.
Yeah, so it's, I guess I'd call it young adult fantasy. Well, it's like Portal Fantasy where, the characters from, a contemporary time period or, there's monsters. They're not humans, except for one character. So, yeah, I guess fantasy works. I'm getting off track here, but... So, yeah, and they go into a fantasy world, which is the Dark World, and this world of imagination, where, different real-world objects are transformed into, characters and stuff. So it's, a bunch of playing cards in the first chapter, and then a bunch of computers in the second chapter, and various computer-like stuff.
Ooh.
Yeah, and it's they're going into the fantasy world and having an adventure, and they come out back to the real world.
That's fun. So what is the focus of this? What do they have to do before they come into the real world?
They need to close the fountain of darkness that creates the world in the first place.
Interesting.
Because if there's too much darkness, the world ends, ends is maybe a bit strong, but it becomes, apocalyptic.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Which, that's, one of the themes is, it's about, escapism. Basically, it's good to do a little bit of, engaging with fiction and imagination, but too much and it ends the world.
Oh, I gotcha.
Yeah, which, Chapter 3 starts off, previously this had been, sort of implicit, but never, directly stated, but it was obvious, but they just never said it outright. But, Chapter 3 you get into, and it starts with, one of the characters explicitly stating this.
Oh.
Yeah. And, one of the other themes is of, control and player choice and freedom. So, it starts off, one of the first things you do is create a character, and it says, actually, no, your choices don't matter, so... Gets rid of the thing you created.
That's nice.
Yeah, and you're playing, ostensibly as a character, but you later find out you're playing as the character's soul. And the characters actually, their own thing. You just control them, and they're, their own entity that does things separate from, your control, the player's control.
That's interesting.
Yeah, don't quite know how that's, going to resolve at this point, but that's a thing that's happening. And the character seems possibly villainous. They're working with the main antagonist, so don't know what's going on there yet either.
So is it a continuation of the last game or the last chapter or whatever?
Yes, yeah, that's why. Or
is it totally different? Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, it's serialized. The events of this follow directly after the events of the second one that came out in 2021.
That's cool.
Yeah, and didn't like this one as much as the previous
bummer.
two. Yeah, especially so I start with chapter 3, obviously, because that's how numbers work.
That's how chapters work.
Yeah, but I start with that, and I'm really not feeling it.
Oh no.
I don't like the main character. It's a TV this time. It's clearly a lot of work went into this. And because there's a lot of different, it's a pastiche of a game show, and also pastiche of old video games that you play through. And the TV's a 3D, I forget the term for it is, but it's technique they used to use back in the day before full 3D games were possible, where they would make a 3D model but then render it in 2D.
Oh yeah, okay.
So he's a little 3D guy in this otherwise 2D world.
And you don't like it?
Yeah, I didn't like the guy, the weird TV guy. I didn't think he was funny or interesting. There's completely irrelevant to the plot. Like, after I finished it and started chapter 4, I was thinking about it, and it's like, you could have totally skipped everything but the very beginning and end of this chapter, and wouldn't have lost anything.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, between that and the fact, like, I'd maybe be fine with that if I thought the chapter itself had something to it, but it's just like, it's like another variation on the theme of, like, escapism, and it's, it's sort of, I guess, a twist on it, because the main TV guy's, like, upset because, it's an old TV and nobody watches him anymore.
It's sad.
Yeah, but, like, yeah, I don't know, I didn't care for that. The jokes weren't landing. There were just, like, sections of gameplay I didn't care for. And it's a lot less characters in both of these chapters than previous ones, which, like, that's, like, where this game really shines for me, is, the character writing and the character interactions. And that's just, not present as much here.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, that really, yeah, I finished that and I was like, this isn't great.
I like how you acknowledge, like, how much work you can tell went into it, and you're like, yeah, but I don't like it.
Yeah. Well, it's clearly trying to do stuff on several points that it hasn't before.
Love that.
Trying to broaden the scope of things, but yeah, no, I didn't care for that.
Aww.
Yeah, then I start chapter 4, which is a bit better. Like, one of the things I didn't like about chapter 3 that's like, I get why they did this for, like, to switch it up structurally, is that, the first 2 chapters are, like, there's a little bit of a intro, and then you end up in the, Dark World, and that's the bulk of the gameplay. And then at the end, you can go around and talk to everybody in both the Dark World and the real world.
Okay.
And that's, like, a fun thing to do. It's like, you've beaten the game, and here's, like, sort of your post-credits scene.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not actually post-credits, but it's effectively like an epilogue, and it's fun to go around and talk to all the different people. And this one didn't have that.
Oh, that sucks. So it did the first couple of ones, and then now...
Yeah, 1 and 2 did, and then...
Okay.
Well, 3 didn't, because the start of chapter 4 is,
Oh, okay.
Like, right, and this, at the end of chapter 3, you finally meet the main antagonist, who's, like, been alluded to previously.
Oh, so you don't know who that... Okay, because when you said you were working with them, I assumed. Okay.
Well, you find that out in chapters 3 and 4. You don't know that until... Or chapter 4, actually, is when you find out they're working together.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because previously they don't even have a name yet. They're presumably a person, like a character, but they're just called the Knight.
Mm.
And they create the, Dark Fountains, presumably.
So is it like Knight, like Knight, or like... Okay,
Yes.
Gotcha.
And they're apparently trying to bring about the end of the world, or post-apocalypse, whatever, for unknown reasons.
That sounds fun.
Yeah. But yeah, there's that, yeah, and then chapter 4 starts, and it's a little bit better, especially because it starts with you walking around and, like, talking to everybody and having those character interactions, which is fun. Yeah, this one really kicks up the plot, like these 2 chapters, whereas previously, like, it was, like, loosely, like, oh, you're supposed to, like, go around and, go through these, dark worlds. This one's really like, yeah, here's the antagonist, and here's, like, they kidnap someone at the end of chapter 3 and lock them up somewhere, and then, like, chapter 4 starts with you trying to find a way to, get there.
Ooh.
Yeah, and then you end up in the, Dark World again. Again, this one doesn't, like, it's less on characters than the first 2, which I think is a problem, and I don't, like, there's the one main character who I just, not as good as the previous ones.
Oh, wait, so you're a different character in chapter 4 than you are in chapter 3?
No, you play the same person who's
okay.
The one human in the game so far.
Okay.
And you play as their soul, rather, and, that has a mind of their own and goes off and does things sometimes. But, you also play with, there's 2 other people that are always, like, following you around.
Okay.
But yeah, and they have different, side characters in each of the, chapters.
Makes sense.
And I thought the side character in chapter 4 was a lot weaker. But yeah, so... I don't know, like, I thought the, because I didn't like the whole TV theme and all that from chapter 3, but this one, it, like, takes place in a church, so it has, like, a bunch of, like, books, and, like, stained glass, which is much neater aesthetically.
That's cool.
but I still wasn't as strong on it because of the aforementioned character thing, but also because a lot of the mechanical things that are in it, it's just like, I feel like every one of them they do a little bit too much of.
It's a bit much.
So it's like, there's several things where I'm like, okay, we didn't need to do all this, you know? You could have cut this
You're
off a little
trying
bit
too
earlier.
hard.
Not trying too hard, it's just like, too long, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's also like, I don't know, I both of these chapters double down on like stuff, like the parts of this game I don't like, or just, I don't like in media in general, but it's like really big, like this game and the previous game by this creative team. Like they're both really big on like just secrets everywhere, like there's a bunch of stuff you can find, and they have like different like lore implications or just like random stuff. And that's like, people like pouring over that, and I don't care for it, and there's a lot of that here.
Oh, you don't like that. Okay.
Yeah, I don't.
I think that would be interesting. I don't know.
I don't care about that kind of stuff. And the second thing is like the speculative impulse. Like, what's gonna happen next? What does it all mean? Like, that it's definitely geared towards that, because I mean, that's huge in media right now in general, or at least, like, like, the audience.
Yeah.
That people love doing that, and I don't care for it. On this game, like, these two chapters are definitely built for that.
Why don't you like that?
I don't...
It's, like, annoying to you?
Yeah, I don't... You know, a lot of it's, like, speculation on what's gonna happen next, and, that, like, I don't care. Because, you know, anything can happen, and I would rather see it than be, like, try to figure out what could happen and try to, like, come up with, you know, theories for it. And also, a lot of times it feels like people are trying to treat it as, like, a puzzle to solve. And it's just, like, I don't care for that.
I see what you mean.
Yeah, it's heavier on that, and lighter on the stuff I do like, which is, like, the character interactions and the comedy, which, like, both of that and this was just really weak, in my opinion.
Aww. That's a bummer.
Weaker than the previous two chapters. Although I did say in the last chapter, I do remember this from our last podcast, is that I was kind of iffy on it until I found out about the evil route, where you make the characters be evil.
Oh, yeah, okay, I remember talking about this, and I was like, why?
Yes. Which continues here, but in a way there's not a lot of it, and what there is of it I didn't really care for, so, I mean, we'll see how that progresses, but, yeah.
I gotcha.
And also, like, I don't know, I am still, like, not confident in this game's themes, just because I think the thematic content of the first game was very weak, like, the weakest part of it.
Uh-oh.
Which is, it's like swinging for that, like, but, you know, I have no confidence that this is going to end up. Seems like it, you know, some of the themes from the first game are also present in this game, and I'm like, there's no way this is gonna pay out into anything.
Oh, no.
Because, like, I'm interested in the stuff where, like, it's like you don't control the, you know, you're not playing as the player character, you're playing as, like, their soul, which is this, like, presented as this, like, outside force that controls them, that sometimes they, like, break free of. But, yeah, that's, like, interesting. There's some, like, neat moments happening with that, but at the end of the day, I'm convinced that it's not gonna go anywhere. Like, interesting.
You're not into that, okay.
Well, no, there is no way, just given the history of that first game, like, that it's gonna end up anywhere interesting.
You have a lot of confidence.
Yeah, oh, and also furthering that theme, at the end of Chapter 4, there's this, like, prophecy, which, I mean, you know, the game, like, the opening cutscene of the game is about, like, a prophecy, but, you know, the characters finally interface with it, and, they don't show you, what the, like, there's, like, there's a bunch of stained glass reliefs that have, like, text on them, and they don't, like, one of the characters sees it before you get a chance to, and they smash it, but it's like, yeah, some tragedy's gonna happen, and it's assumed that it's gonna be, like, some sort of sacrifice. So that's more the, like, your choices don't matter, and sort of, like, control and freedom angles. It's like, there's this prophecy that, like, ends in tragedy, and it's like, you know, one of the characters, swears to not let that happen.
Oh, but you don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
It says tragedy, but you don't see what the tragedy is. It's almost certainly you have to sacrifice one or more of the characters.
Oh. Interesting.
Yeah. which, interested to see how that ends up, plot-wise, at the very least. Maybe the themes end up interesting, I just don't think so, given the history, and also the whole, like, escapism thing. I think that's, like, generally, like, a facile,
Yeah.
theme. It's about, like, oh, escapism's good, but not too much. Too much is bad. It's just like, yeah,
You're not into it.
sure, I don't care.
That is kind of odd.
What? How's that odd?
Like, it's odd, like, that's, like, the theme, I guess, or
I don't think that's
just,
that odd.
I don't know. I don't know. I guess I never really came across, because I, like, think about, like, fantasy novels I've read and kind of, like, draw comparisons to that. It's just, like, to me, like, kind of similar, just, like, a different medium,
Yeah.
But I haven't really come across that theme, so anyway, that's why I said it was odd.
From what I understand, it's pulling a lot from the Neverending Story, which is about this.
Oh, okay, I can see that.
Although I haven't seen people explicitly pull that out. I've just heard, like, the Neverending Story referenced as, like, a thing that makes the same theme. I've never watched or read the Neverending Story, so...
I've watched it, like, years ago, so I did not remember that.
Yeah.
So, okay, I stand corrected. I must have seen it.
I mean, maybe it's not a theme of the movie and it is of the book,
Yeah.
but I don't know. But, yeah, I think that might, like, specifically be, like, a portal fantasy thing, or going into the other worlds, like a metaphor for engaging with fiction or imagination.
I gotcha. And yeah, I would have seen that as a kid, so I probably wouldn't have drawn those conclusions.
Doesn't that come up in Narnia sometimes? It's been a long time, but, like, because I thought there was, like, like, they have to go back to the real world, they can't stay in Narnia forever thing.
Yeah, yes, that is true. Okay, so I have encountered this theme, I just didn't remember it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know, that seems weird as a theme to explore to me, because it feels really shallow, like, again, I can summon up innocence.
Yeah. I mean...
And also, I don't care for escapism as a concept anyways.
Yeah, not your thing.
But, anyways, yeah, and that, like, there's a bit of a twist on it in this one, where it's, like, one of the characters that's, like, one of the, like, imagination constructs, they're called Darkeners, for being from the Dark World.
Ooh.
Yeah, one of those characters is, like, says a thing where it's like, oh, I'm not real, because one of the other characters is like, you should come visit us in the Light World. They're like, no, I can't do that, I'm not real, I'm a figment of your imagination. And that character asserts, no, you are real, you're real to me, or whatever, and I'm like, okay, that's where we're going with this. See how that pays out.
You didn't like it?
I mean, this is something that's explored in the first game, and to me it's just like, okay, yeah, fictional characters are important to people, yes. I don't care for the, like, being this, like, dramatic about it and being like, no, you're real to me.
Aw,
it's like, no.
Cute.
Like, he's fictional character in the fiction, so he's, like, doubly fictional in that way. And I'm just like, yeah, like sure, meta. That's cool and all. It's just not a theme I care for. And I don't think it's gonna, like, end up anywhere interesting. Yeah, and it's like, because that's the thing about that first game, is I think it was really popular, and I think it's, like, well written, well, like, paced, music's great, the character writing's great, and, like, the comedy is, like, really sharp. The thing that makes that is all those character interactions, and the writing is what it, like, gets the thematics, where I'm just, like, thinking about it now.
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah, that kind of didn't really have anything interesting to say. And I'm sure it's going to be the same here, and I'm just thinking about it, and it's like, okay, if it's not having anything interesting to say, and it also doesn't have the parts I like about it, then, like, what's here for me?
Right.
It's not, like, all bad, but it's also just, like, I came away from it disappointed, these 2 chapters.
That's a bummer.
And, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. The next chapter's supposed to come out in 2026, so shorter wait time this time. I'm in for the ride the whole way, no matter what happens.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know, we'll see. I'm hoping, it hits a bit better the next few.
So I know you didn't love it, but, like, would you say compared to the first and second chapter, like that as a whole, and then chapter 3 and 4 as a whole, you didn't like these as much?
Yeah, I really liked chapter 1 when it first came out.
Yeah.
And then chapter 2 I was less high on till
Oh.
till the evil route happened, which I really liked that part.
Yeah.
I thought it was well written. But yeah, this one, like chapter 3, almost entirely superfluous, and like even outside of that, it's fine if there's superfluous parts to something or whatever. It's like it's unnecessary but fun. I didn't like what it had to offer, and it was unnecessary. Chapter 4 has its moments, but it's still weaker, I think, overall. I mean, it doesn't help that, like, the introductory chapters of things, I feel like when you're going through it serialized like this, is going to work better, because you're not, it's like, here's all the stuff, and here's, like, what the deal is, and that I feel like that is easier to sit through in, like, a serialized manner than the middle parts.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, maybe I'm wrong about that, but maybe this would feel better if you played through the whole thing at once, or if I played through the whole thing at once.
Yeah. Would you ever go back and do that, or no?
No, probably not.
You're like, I'm done here.
Yeah, I might watch a playthrough of it once it's all done eventually, but
Yeah.
I don't know, we'll see. But yeah.
That's kind of a bummer.
Yeah.
Maybe next time.
Fortunately, I'm not the only person who thought this. I was looking up some of the responses, and some people were less high on this like I was.
Yeah. That's disappointing.
Didn't seem to be the most popular opinion, but yeah.
Well, you tried it. You just never know until you do it.
Sure.
I mean, I don't know. I get really, like, disappointed when I, like, read a book, especially, like, if I've read the first one and there's a sequel and the sequel's, like, not great. Like, I just, like, I'm like, oh, what a waste of time,
Yeah,
like,
I never feel like
I get
that.
annoyed. I get, like, actually annoyed, yeah.
Yeah, but I am in for this, so
Okay.
I'm not annoyed by it. I'm just disappointed.
Well, I like the dedication.
It would have to be really bad for me to be like, nope, I'm not. I'm finished with this. Like I am, I think, going to see it through regardless.
Yeah, I get that.
I think it probably also helps is that the first one was surprised, but I'm trying to remember if the second chapter was surprised. Like, I think it might not have been, but I'm trying to remember. Okay, no, it was, it was surprise dropped. And this one, like, people had a pretty good idea, like, they were keeping people more updated, like, when it was going to come out, like, this whole year, like, we knew it was going to come out this year, just not when, and then they announced, like, 4 months ago the release date, so, like, there was a lot more time for build-up for me than, previous chapters, which just, like, released.
Gotcha.
So I think that might have hurt it as well.
Well, that sucks. I guess you got, you're like curious to see what it's going to be all about. So you have these like expectations. Womp womp.
I mean, honestly, my expectations are kind of like, I'm going to be disappointed in it regardless. Like, at least the thematic content, which, it's going to get into a lot more as it progresses, is like, introduces the themes in chapters 1 and 2, and, it's exploring them more as it goes, and there'll be a payoff to everything of it, like that part will, I'm expecting it to disappoint me, and it has to some degree, in these parts, but, like, it's gonna keep happening, but, I just expected more of the parts I like to be there, and they weren't.
Yeah. Well, that's just a bummer.
But, yep, that's my current viewing. Deltarune Chapter 3 and 4.
To be continued.
Yep. There's supposed to be 3 more, I think.
Okay, that's what I was just gonna ask. Like, how many more are there gonna be?
That's what the chapter select screen in the game says. Possible there's more, you never know.
Yeah, you never know. So how long is it a wait until the next ones?
It said 2026. In the game it says 2026, so...
Alright, well...
I mean, we'll see, but...
We'll have to revisit this.
Yep.
If you like it better.
We shall see.
We shall see. To be continued, okay.
Another current viewings next year.
Yeah, next year, yeah. Okay, well, I'll get into mine. So, mine, of course, was a book.
Yes.
Yes, always. Well, sometimes I do a show or a movie, but
Yeah,
anyways.
that's true.
This one is called Cover Story, and it's by Susan Rigetti. It's funny because I was like, wait, what was the author's name? And I kept thinking Susan Rigatoni. And I was like, I know that's not right. Susan Rigetti. I was close. But anyway, so I believe this was one I saw, like, I'll call it Book Talk.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and so, or it might have been like a Pinterest. It was on some
social media. Yes.
yeah, some social media, but I think it's probably on Pinterest now that I'm thinking about it. But anyway, so I saw this and I was like, okay, this sounds interesting. So, the comparison that was made was to like the Inventing Anna show on Netflix, and that is about well, it's Anna Delvey, but like I think her real name was like Anna Soriston or something like that. I don't remember what it is. But anyway, do you know, did we talk about that?
No.
Okay. So basically, she was, okay, so Anna Delvey, well, I'm just going to do a brief overview because I'm going to get into the book. But she was basically a con artist who pretended to be this like very affluent, like heir to some fortune, and so she like kept up this ruse and like had a fake identity just to like live a very lavish lifestyle. So anyway, it was supposed to be inspired by, and this is an actual story, like an actual event that happened. And so this book is inspired by like that. So I was like, okay, that was interesting. Like, you know, to see like this con artist get away with things for so long. So I was like, let me read it. Anyways, so the main character in our story is, her name's Laura Ricci. And the story is told by her basically. So it was a little bit different of a format. And at first I really didn't care for it. And so I was like, I don't know if I'm going to like this. But it's told like through emails, text messages, like FBI memos, and Laura's diary. So the main crux of it is Laura's diary. It's like her diary entries.
So it's an epistolary novel. There we go.
Yes, that's the word. I was trying to think of like, what is the word for this? Yeah.
Yes, I know that word despite rarely ever reading books.
I didn't love
listen
it.
to podcasts about books sometimes.
See? There you go. I didn't love that because every chapter started off with like emails, and like I just don't love telling a story through that. But yeah, like I said, the crux of the story was through Laura's diary entries. And anyway, so Laura she's at NYU. She failed out of her like classes, and she, you know, was previously like a good student, had scholarships. So she's losing her scholarships, but she's not telling anybody. She's not telling her parents. She feels like a huge failure.
He's Stan a girl failure.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So she's like basically trying to hide it, and she's trying to like not scheme, but she's like desperate for a solution. Like she doesn't know what to do. Like her life is crumbling. She can't afford to live of course she lives in New York. She can't afford to live in New York, and she's just freaking out. She can't pay her rent, this kind of stuff. So she gets this internship at Elle magazine. It's like a dream internship for her. So she feels like this may be the answer to all of her problems. So she's an aspiring writer. So her main goal is to write fiction. And, you know, she wants to like start off with writing short stories. So she thinks this internship is going to give her like a platform. She's going to get to work on her writing. Well, she ends up like, her job as an intern is to be in like the beauty room and help the beauty editors. So like basically she's doing like grunt work, like cataloging all the beauty samples they get in. So like makeup and stuff.
Basic intern stuff. Yeah.
Yes, basic intern. She's like on her own. She's not with her other interns like in the program because they're all like on some other editorial desk, you know? And so she's like, how am I going to get to write? Like, anyway, she's really feeling sorry for herself. She's by herself in this room all day. And she just like her life is falling apart. She's like on the floor crying because she's losing her scholarships, like that kind of stuff. So anyway, we see like her diary entries, like she's just having a lot of problems. So enter Cat Wolf. Cat Wolf is kind of seen as this like savior to Laura because she is like an editor at the magazine. She is an heir to like this clean energy mogul. Like, and she just is, I don't want to say exotic, but she's like got an accent that like Laura can't really determine like where's she from, and like she just has this air about her that she demands a presence when she walks in a room. She's got these great ideas for like stories. Anyway, all the stuff for the magazine.
Is this the Devil Wears Prada?
Basically, yeah. No, it's more, yeah, kind of. It actually kind of is. So, yeah, they talk about like the beauty closet and that kind of stuff. But, so Kat like totally embarrasses herself in a meeting and like runs back to her beauty closet and starts just bawling, crying on the floor, like I said. So, I'm sorry. Did I say Laura? Yeah, that's Laura who does that. In turn, embarrasses herself, runs to the beauty closet, cries. Kat walks in and is like, come here, it's gonna be fine. Like, she's kind of like, this is like the savior moment. Like, Kat says like, hey, I have an idea. I need help with the story, and I asked for an intern, and I asked for you. I've seen like your writing. You're a great writer. I need your help do research and like different stuff for the story. So she's like, yes, this is my big break. Okay. So Kat basically takes her under her wing, and she lives in the Plaza Hotel in New York. It's like iconic hotel. And she's like, come to my apartment, which is like the whole penthouse floor, basically. Like, come to my apartment and we'll get started. So Kat is like helping her in between, you know, her other duties. And basically, like, her world is falling, like, Laura's world is falling apart. I keep saying the wrong name, I think. Laura ends up helping Kat. Anyway, correct me if I'm wrong.
Oh, I wouldn't know. I don't know these characters.
Okay, well, Laura's the intern. She's helping Kat. So
say Anne Hathaway and what's her face?
No, it's not. It's not like that. It's not like that. Just the
Meryl
setting.
Streep.
Yeah, the setting is like that. No.
Well, also an intern and a boss, and she's helping her boss like while she has her like really bad intern duties.
Well, so Kat's like not like a boss, but she is an editor.
Okay. And she sounds nicer than Meryl Streep's character.
Yeah, she's like young adult. People think Kat, like, she's heard kind of whisperings of Kat, like, oh, like, you know, she's just this hardcore, like, person. But she's like, I found Kat to be, like, very nice and kind of takes her under her wing. Anyways, so Laura's helping her. She's like, I don't know what to do. I'm losing my apartment. She does not want help from her parents. She doesn't want to admit her failures. So Kat's like, move in with me. Come stay with me. Okay. So she moves into the apartment and she keeps thinking like, this is too good to be true. Like, she has her own room in this gorgeous space, you know, like all this stuff. And all she's doing is writing. So they finish this like story, and then Kat's like, hey, I have a proposition for you. I want to write like a book of short stories, but we have to start off with one really amazing short story that'll be picked up by like the New Yorker. And that is going to get us a book deal to do this. Okay. So Laura's like, okay, so she's helping. Laura is like the ghostwriter. So Kat's like, I can't pay you. You can live here. And they're just charging all their food to the room. Like, they're doing all this stuff, right? And she's like, my dad will pick up the bill. But if he knows you live here, like, this could be a real big problem. Okay. So you have to pretend you don't live here. So basically, they charge all the room service and stuff to the room. Everything, drinks, everything, lunch is charged to the room. Okay. So Laura's like, okay, cool. I'll be the ghostwriter. And she knows, like, she's not going to get the credit for the story. But then, like, once they get this fame from the New Yorker article, like, they're counting on this, then they'll be able to, like, co-author a book together of short stories. And then Laura will be able to write fiction, like her novels and stuff that she wants to. So they, like, Kat comes up with ideas, Laura's writing stories, and they write, like, story after story. And they're like, no, we're getting close, but it's not the one. Okay. Anyways, meanwhile, Laura's life continues to fall apart. She tells her parents she's dropping out of NYU. Her parents, like, freak out. She's like, but I have a chance to be an author, and that's what I'm doing. And Kat is my savior, basically. And her parents are like, I don't trust this Kat person. Like, it sounds too good to be true. Like, anyway, so she, like, basically stops talking to her parents. And anyway, her life is falling apart. She doesn't know what she's going to do, but she's really counting. She's got the pressure to do, like, a really great short story. So, anyways, meanwhile, throughout the chapters, like, the FBI is talking about this con artist and, like, how they're trying to find her and all this stuff. So we, like, you don't know, like, is Kat taking advantage of Laura? What's going on? Like, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, jumping to, you know, she's living this lavish lifestyle. It's all cool. One day, Laura, like, Kat is away from the apartment. She says she has to go to California. So you see, like, emails from Kat to her brother who's, like, in Russia or something. And she's like, hey, I need a passport, or like, hey, I need you to buy me like $45,000 worth of Bitcoin. Like, anyway, like all these emails like going to her brother. So we're like, something's going on behind the scenes. Kat says that she kind of takes on this other identity, and she's like doing a story about these like fashion startup companies in California, and this like incubator that like gives money to these companies. So Kat says she's doing a story on him and has to go to California for a couple of months. What she's really doing is like making up interviews for the story, but she herself has taken on this identity of someone else, like sending emails to this incubator with like her idea for an app, for a fashion app. And she's like getting money, like investment money from the incubator to do this, you know, develop this app. But really, she's just taking the money for herself, you know? So she's we see that she's conning, but Laura doesn't know all of this. So Kat's away from the apartment. Laura finds these locked closets, and she's like, I know there's got to be a key somewhere. So she's going through Kat's stuff, and she finds a key. She opens the closets, and she finds like all these wigs and stuff, and she doesn't know what it's all about. But she finds like these wigs. She tries one on. She's like, oh my God, I kind of look just like Kat with these wigs on. But she finds like these clothes that like, it's kind of like disguises basically. So she's like, that's weird. Writes about it in her diary. Okay. Anyway, so the story keeps unfolding. And basically the New Yorker picks up the article, the short story. And it's like an amazing short story. Okay. Meanwhile, Kat is like purchasing Bitcoin so she can pay people to get like 1 million followers on social for like this made up identity. She pays like Bitcoin to get all these fake like people like followers on the article. So like the article goes viral overnight, but it's basically Kat manipulating by getting all these like bot accounts basically. And paying real followers to like share the story. So she's manipulating it all. So the story blows up from the New Yorker, and they end up getting a book deal. And Laura's like really excited. She continues to write short stories. She's cranking them out. Like, it's Kat's ideas. Laura's writing them. And then she's like, okay, but I want to have a co-authorship. And Kat's like, oh no, Laura, like, I don't think you understand. The book deal is for me. Okay. And Laura's like all upset. So she starts to kind of like be like, wait, is Kat like who I think she is? Like, why is she doing this to me? Anyway, she's writing all this in her diary. So one day she's gone. Kat looks in her diary and sees that she went through her stuff and like all the stuff that Laura's saying in her diary. And Kat's like, get out of my apartment. Like, get out now. So Laura's scrambling, like she calls like her parents. She's like, I want you out of here right now. Anyways, all this stuff. Laura ends up like getting money from Kat for the book advance. Okay. She gets the money and she's like, okay, I can still have my own apartment. So she gets her own, this like, you know, little studio apartment using her book advance money. And she goes to like cash the check, and they're like, it's like a $65,000 check or something. And that Kat writes her and basically tells her, get out, here's the money. Okay, she goes to cash the check, and the bank is like, ma'am, I'm sorry, you cannot cash this. Like, it's basically like an empty, you know, you can't cash it. And anyway, so like the police are called, like all this stuff. And Laura finds out like Kat may be a fraud. okay, which she was kind of starting to suspect things. So she, like, the FBI comes and talks to her. The FBI is like closing in on her and stuff. And they come talk to her, and Laura's like, dude, I don't know. Like, she ruined my life. Like, she isolated me from everyone. She kicked me out of her apartment. I had nowhere to go. Like, she basically took my work, like, didn't give me any money. Anyway, so all this stuff unfolds. Okay, getting to the good part. There's some more stuff going on in there. So they basically, the FBI, like, finally captures Kat. Well, she gets it because she basically is taking on all these identities and defrauding people of their money. We see, like, the Plaza Hotel keeps emailing her, and they're like, hey, you have a $40,000 bill and it's not being paid. Like, your credit card is, like, saying it's not processing, it's maxed out. So she keeps, like, putting them off. Like, oh, I just got to get money from my dad. He was just in town, then he's not. Like, you know, anyway, she keeps putting it off. Finally, she, like, gets another credit card and it's like, here, use this. And it's, like, under a different name. And so, anyway, all this stuff is happening. FBI closes in on her. They capture her. She gets away. Meanwhile, like, Laura is like, oh my God, like, what is happening? Like, Kat was a fraud. Like, she calls her parents, she's crying, like, all this stuff, whatever. She's like, I'm gonna move back in with my parents. She's writing all this in her diary, okay? Anyways, so Laura escapes custody. And, not Laura, Kat, I'm sorry. Kat escapes custody. And she shows up one day at Laura's apartment because she's on the run. Like, after, like, a few days, she shows up at Laura's apartment. And she's like, Laura, I need your help. Like, let me just stay here for a couple days. Like, I need a shower. I need food. I'm starving. Like, please help me. Don't tell the FBI. Just let me stay here. So Laura's like, because they were like best friends, okay? So Laura's like, okay, fine, but you need to tell me everything. So Kat basically tells her she's actually a 42-year-old woman. She's not, like, in her late 20s, like she said she was. Her dad, she is not really, like, the heir to a fortune. She basically just took on these different identities and is using people's identities to get money. And she's getting, like, these huge loans and stuff, using other people's identities. And that's how she's been able to, like, keep up the ruse. So Laura's like, okay, whatever, you can stay here overnight. Well, the next morning, Laura wakes up early and Kat's still sleeping. She leaves the apartment. She calls the police, but she left a note for Kat that said, Kat, run. And then she, like, buzzes her intercom a bunch of times to wake Kat up. So while the police are on the way, Kat can escape if she can, right? The police raid the apartment. She's not there. So they bring in Laura and they're, like, questioning her. And Laura's like, look, I told you everything. I even have a diary of what I wrote, like, all the stuff that was happening. Like, you can have my diary, okay? She hands over the diary. The FBI is, like, going through it, trying to, like, piece things together, trying to find Kat because Kat is on the run. Meanwhile, Laura purchases a plane ticket to get out of town, okay? And we're like, what is she doing? Like, they told her she can travel. It's fine. Like, the investigation's about Kat, not about her. So she purchases a ticket. Meanwhile, like, Kat is, like, emailing her brother and is like, hey, I'm coming home to Russia, wherever it is. And, okay, but we see that Laura purchases the ticket, and that's how Kat is able to get away. Okay, fast forward to the end. Laura is actually Kat.
Yeah, I figured that twist was coming.
Yeah. Yes, so Kat made up, like, she wrote a fake diary. She took the identity of this girl, Laura, with the same name, Laura Ricci. So this is how she took people's identity. Laura Ricci was an intern at Elle, but she got into a tragic accident and is in, like, a lifelong coma, basically. So she took Laura's identity, made up all these diary entries, like, made up all this stuff, and was playing, like, Kat and Laura. And that's how she was just able to, like, publish. And then she had this other, like, identity as, like, Daphne somebody who was a novelist. So she was getting paid because she really is a good writer, and she's getting paid for these novels. Like, she wrote, like, multiple novels under a different identity. So she's got, like, all these identities. Basically, she's a total fraud. She has no money. She's not an heir, and she made up this whole thing. So at the very end, you find out, bro, the whole time you were reading, like, this fake diary. So
the twist.
That's it. bam. And she got away. So, yeah, very interesting.
Yeah, so did you like the book?
I did. So, the first half of it, I was like, I don't know about this. Like, it was kind of like, clearly this girl's getting taken advantage of. Like, clearly Kat's a fraud. And I didn't like the, reading the text messages and emails, like in the FBI memos. It was just kind of pieced together, and you're having to, like, come up with the plot on your own kind of thing, But when I was about halfway through and stuff started getting, like, more juicy, you're like, whoa, what's going to happen? Like, what is Kat doing? Like, what's going on? What is her real identity? What's these ties to Russia and her brother? Like, you can see she's a fraud, but, like, Laura's just getting totally taken advantage of. And you're like, okay, what's going to happen? So by the end of it, I was like, and you could tell, like, what was, like, I didn't know for sure that Kat was Laura. But once, like, they were like, oh, Laura asked if she could travel. And they were like, yeah, you can travel. I, like, knew, like, okay, either Laura's buying the tickets for Kat and she's pretending to be her, like, she's aiding and abetting, or, like, Kat is Laura. So.
Yeah, see, I figured from your telling the twist was going to be Laura was a real person, but Kat tried to, like, get her in trouble to
yes,
make her, like, to make an escape, basically.
That's where I was going too.
Like, she steals her identity, and, like, while the police are tied up, while the FBI's tied up with her, she's gonna, like, get away.
Yeah, she's gonna, like, pin it on Laura and, like, run. But yeah, so once she started talking about, like, oh, I look just like Kat with this wig on, I was like, huh, that's interesting. Yeah, so it was good. I liked it. Like, by the end of it, I liked it. But it was kind of hard to get into at first. I don't love those types of books when it's text messages back and forth and stuff. Like, just write the novel. Like, just, like, give me words on a page. I don't want text message conversations,
Yeah, I feel like the older form of the, I'm gonna mispronounce this again, epistolary. But I feel like the older form where it's, like, letters, because that's what people wrote back in the day.
Right.
I feel like that probably works better than like text messages and emails.
I feel like I get caught up reading, like, emails. Like, I'm reading to, from, date, time,
right,
subject. Like, I don't like that. Like, it just, that annoys me. But like I said, it had drawn me in. By the end of it, I was trying to figure out, okay, who's conning who? Like, what's the real story? How is she getting these identities? How is she getting all this money? Like, to me, that was wild. Like, because it was based on true story. So, like, how are you getting all this money? That's insane. But,
Yeah. Seems kind of interesting.
It was, yeah. I mean, I'm glad I read it. I would have preferred just, like, not reading diary entries, but... or
I feel like diary entries got to be better than the email and text thing. Like, I just feel like the format of writing you use for email and text is just way less conducive to a novel.
Yes. Or, like, even the FBI memos, that was annoying to me.
Oh, okay, huh.
But, yeah. But anyway, it was good. The storyline was good, especially because it was based on a real thing. So, I was here for it. I liked it.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my current viewing.
Yeah, neat. Yeah, I guess that's everything.
Yeah, that's everything. This has been Beach View and our current viewings, and join us next time. Bye.
Bye.